Hello, my soul brothers and soul sisters. I am Ron Smith, and this is the Dr. Ron Smith Investigating Show, where we separate the real from fake, the fact from fiction, and give you the winner's edge. And sometimes we're able to turn your water to wine. I have a very special guest today. His name is Mr. Crockett Oates. And Mr. Oates, I'm glad to have you on board, but I want to introduce you properly. Mr. Oates is a true 21st century Renaissance man. He's an Army veteran, a colonel, matter of fact. He's a former FBI agent, and he is what he called himself a preservationist. And I'm going to get him to tell you exactly what that is. But basically, he has a BS degree. He has two masters, one in criminal justice, the other one in business administration. He is currently the associate chancellor at the Missouri State University at White Plains. Mr. Oates, welcome aboard. Tell us a little bit about yourself other than what I just said.
Hey, Dr. Ron, thanks for having me on your show. The main thing that I would love to introduce to your audience about me is that I care about my community. I care about my people. And as a result of that caring, I have chosen to renovate a 100-year-old one-room segregation era African-American school here in West Plains, Missouri. And I think that body of work stems from a culmination of caring about people. You introduced me as a retired Army officer and a FBI agent and a police officer. These are all professions that obviously vacillate around caring for people. And so I view this latest effort of restoring 100-year-old one-room segregation era Black schools in rural Missouri as an extension of that body of work.
Now, one of the things that I talk about a lot on my show is the conversation, which is the conversation I wish I had, 20 or 30 or 40 years ago. And we're talking about financial literacy. So one of the things I want your personal view of, how did you learn about financial literacy? Because you don't be an associate professor of business at one of the prestigious university without having some basic knowledge of that. What was the first thing that you learned about financial literacy, and how did you come about that information?
That's an excellent question for your programming here on the show. My lesson from about financial literacy happened when I was a little guy. My brother and I was babysitting ourselves. He was 9, I was 6 years old at home by ourselves, which probably would be heard of in this day and time. But our parents would give us an allowance every week for babysitting ourselves, $5 a week. And, if we wanted to get anything that cost above and beyond $5, we had to save for that, and we had to work to raise the other piece of that money. So how that's carried forward in my life as an adult is that's exactly how I roll now. I save for what I want to buy. I'm very selective when I take out credit for anything, and I make sure that I'm investing as opposed to being a consumer. And so I think those basic principles were instilled in me at an early age by my parents, who are very fiscally responsible and taught me those same values.
As a university chancellor, you expect a student to be coming to the university with a body of knowledge, especially if they enroll in the School of Business. What are some of the things that you think should be at the elementary level and the high school level that should be preparing them to come to meet you as one of their professors when they get to the university level?
I think the main thing that young people need to understand is the power of compounding interest. Compounding interest, I describe as the eighth wonder of the world, because it promotes, in order to have money to invest and then achieve compounding interest, it all starts with the ability to save and to put back and to not spend all of your hard-earned monies on things that aren't going to materialize as assets for you. They're not going to materialize as investments for you. I think one of the main things that I see young people coming to our campus with is a lot of debt. People will give you things, with the mere signature that you probably could work and save and do without, and delay that gratification until you have the money to say buy that starter car. That people will give you a loan for that, and thusly then turn around and that you've paid two times, by way of example, two times more for that car than what you would have if you just purchased it in cash. So those are just some of the basic things that I was thinking about for what kids should be doing versus what I see time and time again not being good behaviors.
I concur. Einstein had made that quote that basically the magic of compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. And he put the positive spin on that. One of the things that I found out, and especially being the victim of trial and error, as a matter of fact, I'm on trial with some of my financial errors, is that as compound interest can work for you, it can work against you. And one of the things I've seen today is about, soon as one of the first pieces of mail I got when I was a college student was a credit card application. And with that credit card application is that, sure, I had, let's say, $1,000 worth of a line of credit, so to speak. But what they didn't tell me is that there was a user rate that I need to learn. And also, as the interest rate has quadrupled over the last couple of months, people don't realize how fast you can get in the red. So I guess my next question to that is that what type of curricula do you think would be beneficial to a high school student prior to getting introduced to the world of finance?
I think, again, another excellent question. I think that, kids that are raised in their parents' home are shielded from predatory lending. I think that they need to understand what predatory lending is and what it is not, and understand that people are prone to give them money to do certain things, like, say, achieve a college education, which we all acknowledge is great. However, if you receive an education in a field that's not going to pay you enough money to clearly allow you to pay back your debt at a satisfactory rate, that's, as you alluded to, Dr. Ron, that's when compounding interest can beat you up. Yes. That's when compounding interest is not your friend. It's not, it's a wonder, all right. It's not the eighth wonder in the best of ways. It's a nemesis to you.
So what type of plan did you have when you were in college that you really intentionally had let's say a budget plan? Did someone tell you, were your parents telling you that basically this is how you set up your income and your expenses, and separated from your assets and your liabilities, or something that you grew into later?
Well, no. I mean, I'll keep it real here on your show, Dr. Ron. I made mistakes too at a young age. I made a mistake with regard to credit cards. There I was, a brand new, fresh second lieutenant in the United States Army. Had a good, dependable check coming in, and I had every lending institution that you can name willing to give me money. And I fell for that, as we say, okie doke. I fell for that trick. But once I come to understand and realize what was happening to me with regard to predatory lending, my parents did get me back on track, helped me pay down some of my loans, credit card bills, so that I could then, go forward and do great things and have a head full of knowledge and have learned from my experiences. I understand a lot of young people aren't fortunate enough to have parents that are in a position to help them to do that, but thank goodness mine was in a position to help me. And going forward, I don't mind apostolizing the goodness of just being fiscally smart and budget conscious with how you handle your money. And that's what it comes down to, is just being smart about it.
Now, do you have the opportunity to mentor some of your university students regarding this? And it could be, by design, or something that you have structured within, your particular, because you see a need.
Sure. There's always an opportunity to mentor if you look for that opportunity. Now, my job within the university is really more focused on the business side of things for the university, keeping the lights on, keeping staff paid, keeping maintenance issues addressed, and not least keeping the budget of the university in check. And so my mentorship really stems from just my community works, that students are a part of. Mentorship is good when it comes to especially teaching young people the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts of using money.
And I got to ask you this before we go to break, because the next part I want to talk about your social investment and in your community as a preservationist. Now, one of the things that I be candid that, when two different households come together, you kind of explained that basically your parents basically gave you allowance, and they kind of coach you along financial situation. Now, your wife named Tanya, right?
She is. Yeah, that's Tanya.
Okay. What background and how do you guys negotiate this, the budget process?
Well, I mean, you're exactly insightful in saying that when two people from different walks of life, not so different, but nevertheless different walks of life, come together and try to form as one family, you do have some growing pains, oftentimes about fiscal responsibility. So what we do is we understand what our bills consist of. We understand who needs to provide to ensure that our bills are covered, what percentage each provide, and then we do that. And then we set up personal savings for the household through those means as well. I'm a firm believer that, while you must save, you too must also get some enjoyment out of your money, and it keeps you motivated and inspired to continue to achieve and earn. And so we do that too. We pay ourselves first. We pay our tithes. We pay our bills, obviously, and we save. And it has worked out well for us 30 years and counting.
One of the things I know that's very important is communications. And oftentimes when I do financial counseling, single and couple and family wise. And one of the things I found out is if you can communicate and be candid about where you are financially, oftentimes that would eliminate a whole lot of excessive purchasing, or having the illusion that there's more cash flow than it actually is. And you kind of, you answered my question expertly, is that basically, you and your wife, you actually, communicate and have a goals in mind. Well, both parties understand that. I know basically that would be the perfect way if we all communicate and actually see the numbers. And all I say, numbers don't lie. So I appreciate your candor. What we're going to do now, we're going to take about a minute break, and then we're going to get back, because I want to hear about, your social investment in the community. And you mentioned the school, but there's some other things that you're doing in the neighborhood. So when we get back, we're going to talk about your social investment in your neighborhood.
Oh, thank you.
I can tell you my problems, meditating my silence. But I keep pushing my pen, rotating my stylus. Brokenness feeling like sin, now no breath, low dollar. Used to be left on red, now all the girls go holler. Now all the girls go follow. All the fake fans gon' pile up. I need peace to borrow, get that shit right back tomorrow. Somehow all the fans go bravo. Smile so much to hide my sorrows. Faith is shaky in bravado. I can't hold a frown too long. I can't stay down too long. Look, running from pain, running from strain, running from things, running from schemes. I can't hold a frown too long. I can't stay down too long. Look, running from pain, running from strain, running from things, running from schemes.
Welcome back, guests. I am Ron Smith, and this is the Dr. Ron Smith Investigative Show. And our special guest today is the true Renaissance man, Crockett Oates III. He's the Associate Vice Chancellor of Missouri State University at West Plains? I was about to say White Plains. It's West Plains, Missouri. And basically, I got the personal side of Mr. Oates, but one of the things, and I wanted to build a platform because Mr. Oates is financially secure from his parents instilling him in some things, and also the combination of him and his wife communicating their finances. So now that put him in a position that he wants to go outside his house into the community. Now, he has called himself a preservationist. So, Mr. Oates, tell us what that is, and tell us some of your projects that you're working on, and basically how we can help and support those ideas.
Thank you for that. When I came back to West Plains approximately 3 years ago, I noticed that some of our more cultural, iconic institutions here in West Plains, and by the way, the African-American population is less than 2%. I noticed that some of those African-American institutions, like our cemetery and our historic one-room segregation era school, was in blight. And it broke my heart to see, because there was so much rich culture and history that went into these great institutions. I mean, the cemetery was in bad shape. We had a lot of graves out there that were unmarked due to systematic poverty, among other things. And so that was our first effort. My wife joined me in writing grants and seeking assistance from academics to help us to apply technology to identify those unmarked graves so that we could get them properly marked for continued future use of the cemetery. And so that happened, and that was about a 1.5 year long effort to achieve that. And then next we set our sights on restoring the historic Lincoln School, which that's a project that's continuing.
Before you get to the Lincoln School, tell us a little bit about the people that are in that cemetery that we need to know, because I think that's what the most historical value that people can actually wrap their hair around, to hear the stories of some of those prominent African Americans that was in that cemetery.
Sure, and that's the motivating factor for me. Not least my family members, grandfathers, great grandfathers, and grandmothers are interred there. We have World War II veterans that served in the Buffalo Soldier brigades. We have one of those gentlemen earned 3 Bronze Stars in World War II. And then we have another gentleman, Mr. Jules Towton, that earned 5 Bronze Stars in World War II. Wow. And true American heroes. We have former slaves interred there, enslaved people interred there. The cemetery was established in the mid-1800s. And then St. Leger Brown, who was a Methodist minister and a farmer, received the Homestead Act of 1861, and the land, the 80 acres that he was apportioned, had a plot of land on it that had been designated a cemetery by those individuals that were already there in the area before he got his homestead land. He saw fit to keep the cemetery in place and for community use, and that is now what we affectionately call the Sadie Brown Cemetery. Now, the 80 acres that St. Leger Brown was originally apportioned, that when he passed away in I believe it was 1921, that land went to quote unquote satisfy debt. So back to your original line of discussion, Dr. Ron, his land went to satisfy debt upon his death. And the only thing that his widow was left with was the cemetery, that, the plot of land that was apportioned as a cemetery. And so we are actively working to preserve that history and, more importantly, share the stories of those interred there, because these are marginalized citizens of our community that have been largely overlooked throughout history.
Oh, excellent, excellent. I really wanted you to tell that part of the history, because our viewers need to know that basically we had our forefathers had some insight. Basically our I guess our new generation only hear about the 40 acres and a mule. They don't really understand basic that we actually own a lot of real estate. And I'm a big real estate guy. Matter of fact, that's what I'm currently doing. I'm a real estate professional. How before we get back to the school, how do we create our own Black Wall Street today? I just want to give me a few minutes on that.
Sure. There's an interesting statistic that's out there that suggests that African Americans are the least race of people that do business, keep their dollars within their own community. Yes. And, we have to ask ourselves the question, why is that? It's because we don't own businesses. We have to buy groceries, and we're not buying groceries in our own grocery stores. We have to buy gasoline, and we're not buying gasoline at our own filling stations. We have to go to seek medical assistance, and we're not going to our Black doctors that are located in our communities that have their own doctor's offices. All of that to say, the reason I feel like our dollars don't stay within our community is because we aren't standing up businesses to the scale that others are. Now, by contrast, they say that Asians are the ethnicity of people that preserve their dollar in their community the longest. And that's because they use their businesses, and they have businesses that they can use to support their means. And so sorry. The reason why I asked that question, because it leads into your Lincoln School project. And one of the things that me personally, since I am in real estate, I'm very interested in buying back the block. And that's pretty much taking, if we have to renovate housing, make those houses back to that they are back to standard, and having our own people to move back into the old neighborhoods that we moved out of, and which lead me to you're renovating the school as part of one of the things that you're putting value back into our community. So tell us about what you're doing with the school, and how that is a value added project for you and your wife, as well as the neighborhood. Sure. Lincoln School was a prominent structure within the African American community. It was built in 1926. It was a source of future, of optimism for our community. we looked upon Lincoln School as a way to get out and be able to, educate ourselves so that we could have an opportunity to get out of the community, to make something of ourselves, and possibly come back to the community and thrive and flourish. My wife and I, in July of this year, decided to purchase Lincoln School from the city of West Plains. We wanted to get Lincoln School, restore it back to its original luster, actually restore it back to a state where it was better than before. And we're in the process of doing that now. It's going very well. What we want to do with Lincoln School is set up future programming that serves to do just exactly what you're doing, Dr. Ron, educate people on various topics that are of grave importance to them, provide insight, and most importantly, allow external voices to this community into the Lincoln School and into the hearts and minds of our community, so that we can get the best benefit of world knowledge, like other communities that are possibly more enriched and better connected globally. So we want to be an oasis for the community to come and be transported when they walk through the doors with the knowledge and the access that they have to world leaders and thinkers like yourself.
I have to ask you to forgive me. You sent me a Lincoln School T-shirt, and I should be having that on right now. So yeah. I'll humbly apologize and have to have you back on my show.
Okay.
because I want to support the effort that you're doing, because I'm 100% behind it. And how can
follow us on Facebook at Lincoln School Project, and there I'm posting videos daily of the renovations as they're taking place in real time, and we're engaging the community through comment and chat from our post. And so I'm literally posting sometimes 2 times a day as significant key events happen in the history of Lincoln School. So please follow us on Facebook, Lincoln School Project, and go to our website, www.lincolnschoolproject.com.
Excellent. I wanted to get that in. Is there some last minute comments that you like to make regarding what you're doing and how other people can be preservationists and how they can contact you, to get started, that sort of thing?
Sure. I think that, how our conversation started out about being fiscally responsible and being guardian of your money. I understand that some of these things that I'm doing does require some startup capital, and that wouldn't have been possible if I hadn't have thought about my fiscal self early in life, and then worked throughout my life to try to ensure that I had, as my great grandmother would say, 2 nickels to rub together, so that one day, when an opportunity such as Lincoln School presented itself, I could do good in my neighborhood by investing in my neighborhood and investing in a historic space that will make a difference to the trajectory of the neighborhood, of its people, for the better.
Well, Mr. Crockett Oates III, I appreciate your time, and I got to have you back on the show because I got to wear your T-shirt. So hopefully, coming up in 2024, we can do this again, and then you could share with the progress. Matter of fact, next time you come on, we have to see that video that you produce, and our viewers, we get a better understanding of what you're doing. So sure. Until we come back again, Mr. Oates, appreciate you, brother.
Thank you very much. We plan on being complete with Lincoln School January the 15th on Martin Luther King Day. We're going to have a dedication of that space, and I'd love to come back on and talk to your viewers about where we're at with it and what kind of future programming we look to do.
All right. Either before or after, we're going to do that show. So until we come back, peace, blessings to all.
Dr. Ron, you're the man. Thank you.
Thank you.